Overstimulated, a word I've used more often than I care to admit since becoming a mom. When people ask about the hardest part of motherhood, I always say it's not the mom part, it's figuring out the mom part alongside everything else. The work, laundry, social events, appointments, chores. I have found that the easiest way to squash the overstimulation is 1, realize that you can't do it all, and 2, create better systems. These are 20 tiny 1-minute habits that simplify our life, save money, and minimize stress so we can focus on what actually matters. It honestly feels kind of silly making this video. When I was making this list, I just thought these are so simple. They are not revolutionary ideas, and a lot of these you are probably already doing, but for me, these things have saved me so much time, so much stress, money, and I thought that I would share. I have said it so many times before, but I really believe life is made up of all these little things that you're doing every single day. And so if there's a way that I am making my life easier, whether it's big, whether it's small, I always try to share it on here. And so that is what today's video is for. Stop pressing snooze. This is a habit I have cut from my life for the past few years, and it's mainly because I feel so much more tired when I snooze my alarm. It's a small thing, just getting up when your alarm goes off in the morning, but I personally know that I just feel so much better when I wake up. If I keep snoozing and snoozing and snoozing, especially in this phase of life, I feel so behind in the morning time. And for me, my morning routine just really does set the tone for the rest of my day more than it ever has before. Just having little pockets of alone time, finding those throughout my day. I will say I've never been someone who needs just a ton of sleep. So I'm usually ready to wake up in the morning. I think a lot of that starts with maybe going to bed earlier and setting up those habits, but start small. Or just set your alarm for the time you actually realistically know that you are going to wake up. Prepping wake up food. This is kind of a new addition in my life since having a toddler. Having food that is already prepped, already ready, easy to throw in the microwave, the toaster oven, the oven, whatever you use, or things that you don't even have to heat up. It really simplifies the morning in general. Or just for yourself, if you're someone who's really hungry in the morning but you don't want to cook this just elaborate breakfast every single morning, having wake up food, just easy, maybe healthier little snacks, healthier meals that you can grab easy, quickly in the morning. I can't say how many times I have gone through a drive-through, grabbed my fun drink, and then I don't have space for it in my cup holders. I think it's so beneficial to do a car clean out every single time you leave your car. I will admit, I don't always do this myself. My husband does work from home, so a lot of times I'll text him if he's free and say, hey, can you grab my trash for me as I'm unloading our son out of the car too. It just feels so good getting in a car that doesn't have trash. It doesn't have to be completely organized by any means, but making sure you have clear cup holders. It's nice to not have to scramble when someone's trying to hand you your food at a drive-through, find places for everything. And of course, it's just taking care of your space, taking care of your car, cleaning up the kitchen after meals rather than saving it for the end of the day. So for me, I do a lot of the cooking in our house, which means that my husband's doing a lot of the dishes. That's something that I don't love to do. When it's just me, I try to just wash my dishes right after I use them, put them in the dishwasher. It typically takes a minute, maybe even less, depending on how much you cooked. If I'm cooking something that's a lot more elaborate, I might save them for later. It's just nice having a clear kitchen. I find that I use my kitchen more. I'm more likely to eat from home, save money in that way when the kitchen is clear. We've been trying to do this more this year, but that is doubling up whenever we're making any sort of recipe so that we can freeze any extras, especially again going to breakfast, lunch. I love having easy things that I can just pop in the oven. Again, it's likely gonna make me eat healthier rather than getting takeout, getting something out and about. And especially when you have kids, having things pre-made is amazing. And you know, some recipes that is gonna take longer than a minute to cook that extra portion, but for the most part, it's not really adding any time, especially if you're making pancakes, muffins, things like that. I find it's really easy just to whip up another serving and then you'll save yourself time in the long run. Having catch-all baskets for laundry. I cannot tell you how many times I just take everything off and I throw it on the ground, or I throw it in the dirty clothes hamper when it's not actually dirty, but I'm just too lazy to put it away. For me, I don't like washing clothes when they aren't actually dirty. And so we just have a hamper set out and we just throw things in there. Instead of having just clothes on the floor everywhere, clothes in the hamper that aren't actually dirty, I just have a designated basket for, I don't really want to sort this yet, or I don't really want to hang this up yet, so I'm just going to throw it in the basket. For some reason, this is hard for me to explain in words, but someone actually recommended this to me on YouTube, and that is, if you have a lot of photos on your phone, you're trying to organize, you're trying to declutter digitally, something that they found helpful is each day that it is, type that day on your iPhone photos and go through and just delete, scrap photos that you don't need, photos that you have multiples of. This is a great way to just declutter photos day by day, and it's not something that you're having to sit down and do for hours at a time. With this job, I have so many photos on my phone. I have over 100,000 photos. I've actually been doing this habit more routinely, so I think I'm down below 100,000, 95,000. So it's really been working for me though. It's just simpler than kind of doing this all at once, and again, it likely takes a minute, less than a minute. It's super quick. Booking your next appointment when you're actually at your appointment. A lot of times I put this off because I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. If you're going to the dentist, often they're asking you 6 months ahead of time, but you can always reschedule or cancel an appointment if you need to. But a lot of times if I just book the appointment already, I'm not going to reschedule, I'm not going to cancel, and I'll just plan my week, my month around that already being set on my calendar. When you're a kid, you never realize how much of your parents' life is dedicated to just kind of being the secretary of organizing everyone's appointments, making sure everyone's going to the dentist, the doctor, all these things. And it's helpful to not have to, set a whole life admin day, which I love to do that. I do think it's very helpful. Get one of those tasks off by already having the appointment set and not having to call back, reschedule, all that. Keep a running list of groceries that you need on your phone. So anytime you're cooking and you realize, oh my goodness, we're out of flour, we're out of chocolate chips, we're out of eggs, just add that to your notes. It's a super quick habit, but for me, I'm trying to do this more because I've been so sporadic with grocery runs where I'm just getting random things and often forgetting things that I know that we need, and this has been really helpful. You can even share it. That's why I love the Notes app. You can share it with your husband, your wife, your kids, whoever it may be. Get them to add things on there too. I think especially if you have kids, this would be helpful so that you got everyone covered. You're minimizing the amount of times you have to go to the grocery store, however many grocery pickups you're doing, and you got everyone covered. Cleaning out the fridge is never fun, but something that I find to be helpful and to make sure it actually gets done is just to do a quick clean anytime I'm bringing groceries into the house. Wipe down the fridge, pop things into the freezer if they're about to go bad, get rid of things. I find this to be so much better than doing just a giant fridge cleanup, declutter, say at the end of a couple of weeks or so. And it's never fun getting all these fresh new groceries and then coming back and realizing that you had things to work with. A lot of times it helps me plan our meals a little bit better because I don't want to waste things. I want to figure out how to use these things that are about to go bad. And it just makes it easier chipping away a tiny little bit of things like this throughout the week rather than a big chunk of it taking up a lot of your time. Charging your electronics when they die. The feeling when I go to record a video, I go to record a vlog, and I realize that my camera is dead. I've been trying to do this so much more, just when my phone dies, when the iPad dies. That's how we use our baby monitor a lot of the times. Just pop the battery in the charger, get it charged so when you go to actually use that item, you have a full charge and it's ready to go. Again, I can't believe I'm even putting this in a video because it's so simple, but little things like that have really just changed my life. 1 laundry load a day. Laundry is probably my least favorite chore. I love throwing it in the washer, the dryer, but actually folding the laundry, and especially when you have a mountain of it, it kind of seemed silly for me at first doing 1 laundry load a day. It felt a little bit wasteful, but honestly, we have enough clothes to wash, especially between just myself, my husband, and my son, especially when he was going through burp cloths a lot. We were doing laundry all the time, and I find it's a lot quicker to wash it and then someone folds it at night. I try not to be the one to fold laundry as much as possible because I don't love it. Focus only on the areas that matter to you. There are some areas of our home that I just don't really care about. I will share one of them right now that I often don't share in my videos. That is our clothes. I have wanted to have a dresser for a while now, but this bedroom is just a weird layout. We're renting. I don't really care to buy a dresser right now. I'd rather just wait until we have our home that we actually purchase. And so it's kind of just a mountain. Instead of trying to keep every single space exactly how I want it, there are some that we just kind of let go. And this is one of those areas for me versus our kitchen, my son's room, our family room, our living room, all those spaces we really try to keep tidy, but there are some that we just don't. And this saves me a lot of time in the long run. And on that note, vacuum only the areas that you actually need to be vacuumed. I have a golden retriever. It is no secret that golden retrievers shed so much. There's a lot of dog hair in our house. Honestly, we would have to vacuum 3 times a day to really keep up with it. Sometimes we'll just vacuum the spaces that we need. Like our living space, we spend a lot of time in there. I like to have that vacuumed. Our kitchen, where we're really spending time. If you don't have the time to do just a full vacuum throughout the house, just take 1 minute to do the area that you really want to. It helps my brain feel clear, and especially now that our son is so mobile, knowing that he's not rolling around in a lot of the dog hair in the spaces we actually are. I think a lot of times we put off cleaning areas because it just seems so intimidating to clean the entire house. Just clean the area that you need in that moment. Saves you time in the long run. If you're hosting, just clean the areas people are going to be. I am not above sticking things in closets if we want to kind of make the space look a little bit more clear, and just only cleaning the bathroom that everyone's going to be using versus all the bathrooms in the house. Stop impulse purchases. I've been on an Amazon freeze for the past month, and it's been so good because I just realized how many things accumulate in our house. Just take a minute before you're about to press ship to my home, even just putting stuff in your cart and letting it sit, and then at the end of the week looking at it, and I think a lot of times you realize we actually don't need that, or we have something that will work fine for that. I don't need a new version of this. Decluttering and simplifying my life and just not bringing as much in has been a huge help to not feeling overstimulated in our space, having more physical things to clean all the time, just keeping things simple, sticking to the basics. Writing out just a few intentions for each day. You don't need a whole to-do list. If that's intimidating, I think a lot of times when you have a giant to-do list, it's easier just to do nothing because you think, I'm not going to be able to accomplish all of that. I have just gotten so much more realistic with myself, especially since being a mom, because I don't have the capacity to do it all. Not that I had that capacity before either. None of us have the capacity to do it all, but my time is just more limited now, and I only make space for things that I know are actually doable. When it comes to work, just a couple of things. Be realistic with yourself, and I think you'll actually accomplish more that way. At the end of the day, I don't do this every single day, but I do like to do some sort of, kind of like to do an inventory of our toys. Toys is a big area that it's just easy to accumulate a lot. I think especially as your children get older and they really desire more toys. I think even at my son's age at 14 months, he's kind of just playing with pots and pans and grabbing things. We do have a toy subscription service, and I like that because that's kind of my one excuse where I know every couple months we'll get a couple more toys, but besides that, I've really tried to stop ordering new ones, all that, and just taking inventory. If something hasn't been used for a long time, we'll store it away if it's just not age appropriate anymore, or we will donate it. And I do find that he plays so much better when there's not just this abundance of toys, and it takes, again, just a minute at night. We're using this, we're not using this. Simplifies your life a lot. Use grocery pickup rather than going in the grocery store. Now, I love going to the grocery store. I like picking out my own produce. I love going with my son. I think it's a good learning experience of this apple is red or this is an orange, a teaching experience there. But I will say, when I go to the grocery store, I buy so much more. I buy things that are probably gonna go bad. I buy things that I think I'm gonna have time to cook, and I actually don't. Versus when you do grocery pickup, it's so much easier to just only buy the things that you know you're going to use, not overspend, and also not waste too much food. So I've been a little bit converted in this area. We have been using grocery pickup quite a bit more. Obviously, the act of putting everything in your cart and figuring everything out, that takes longer than a minute, but typically it is faster than actually going to the store. Setting out your clothes the night before you need them, especially when it comes to workout clothes. This is something I try to do because, especially if I'm trying to get a workout in the morning, I will say those days have been few and far between because we just are early birds around here. But before, when I would work out in the morning, having my clothes set out, I was so much more likely to actually work out, even though the act of doing it, again, takes a minute. It's not anything crazy, but just visualizing them, seeing them. You could even sleep in your workout clothes and then just wake up, go to your workout class. Makes you so much more likely to actually get that workout in. And lastly is freezing scrap fruit for smoothies. We are big into smoothies these days, and a lot of times I'll give my son a banana and I'll just give him half of it, whatever. And I always like to freeze the extra fruit because then down the road we will have stuff for smoothies, smoothie bowls, whatever you're trying to make. Takes a minute, it's super quick, but it really does save you, again, money and time in the long run. Not revolutionary, none of these things are crazy, but I do notice that I do a lot of these things throughout the week, and they actually do just save me so much money, so much time, and again, just minimize stress. I'm in the season of really wanting to prioritize spending time with my family and making new memories and doing things out of the house. I find I focus on those things more when our house is in order, when things are just running smoothly, and we're not just spending all this time on Saturday and Sunday doing a lot of these chores around the house, but just doing little bits here and there as we feel we need to throughout the week. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye.